Okay, so I did a video yesterday and I started the video just with a simple statement about there's no evidence of the fight at the frat house. And I got a lot of kickback on that. And a lot of the kickback was because of a interview that Jeffrey Kernodle did, or maybe it was Kara Kernodle, which why would anybody believe anything she said? But I believe Kara Kernodle did an interview where she said that Jeff Kernodle, Kara's dad, was uh, going to drive over there, but he was too drunk because of the fight at the frat house, and they were getting pizza at midnight. And we can just put all that to bed now. Let me go ahead and read Jeffrey Kernodle's statement to the Moscow PD on November the 13th, 2022. You can see interview is Jeffrey and Jasmine Kernodle. And what does it say here? On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 12:53 hours, so this is less than an hour after the 911 call, I arrived on scene at 1122 King Road. Who is this? Dollinger. This is Dollinger, new chief. And spoke with Sergeant Gunderson and Sergeant Lawrence, who gave me a brief overview of the information gathered at the time. Lawrence informed me the Idaho State Police were going to assist in the investigation and were organizing to respond to the scene. Sergeant Lawrence responded to the police department to begin interviews. I remained on the scene on the perimeter awaiting further information. Approximately 1 hour later, a male approached the scene and began speaking with Sergeant Gunderson. The male was identified as Jeffrey Kernodle. I overheard Jeffrey state his daughter lived in the 1122 King Road and he had been trying to get in touch with her but was unsuccessful. It was also learned Jeffrey's daughter Jasmine Kernodle was nearby the scene. I asked Jeffrey if he and Jasmine could come to the police department to speak with me. Jeffrey agreed, and I returned to the police department. I contacted Sergeant Lawrence at the police department and asked if he had the names of the victims. Sergeant Lawrence stated he did and gave me the list. I saw one of the victims' names was Xana Kernodle. I then met with Jeffrey and Jasmine in the interview room off of the police department lobby. Once in the room, I activated the audio and video recording equipment. So this one is on record. Sooner or later, we'll actually probably see this one. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine for their information. They both handed me their Arizona driver's licenses. After writing down their information, I asked Jeffrey what the name of his other daughter was. Jeffrey told me her name was Xana. I then informed Jeffrey and Jasmine that Xana was identified as one of the victims and that she was deceased. Both Jeffrey and Jasmine became very upset and were crying heavily. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine when the last time they communicated with Xana was. When the last time they communicated with Xana was. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine when the last time they communicated with Xana was. Jeffrey stated Jasmine stated she texted with Xana on November the 11th at approximately 1700 hours. Jeffrey said the text messages were brief, or Jasmine said the text messages were brief and were not of any substance. Jeffrey said he texted Xana on November the 11th, 2022 at around 1540 hours. And she responded stating she was at work. Jeffrey then told me he last spoke with Xana on the phone on November the 11th, 2022 at approximately 2140 hours when they spoke about going to the WSU football game. I asked Jeffrey where Xana worked and he said at the Mad Greek. I asked both Jeffrey and Jasmine if Xana had mentioned anything about having any issues with anyone or anything strange occurring lately. Both Jeffrey and Jasmine said Xana had not said anything. Jeffrey said Xana had a boyfriend, Ethan Chapman. Ethan Chapman is what he said. Ethan Chapin, who she had been dating for about 6 months or so. Jeffrey said everything seemed fine with their relationship and added how he met Ethan's parents in passing this weekend. It should be noted, Jeffrey was in town visiting as he resides in Avondale, Arizona, and was in Washington State University's Parents Weekend. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine if there was anyone they wished me to contact for them, or if they wished to speak with anyone, such as a member of clergy. Both told me no. I gave them both my business card and informed the detectives would be in contact with them in the near future. Jeffrey and Jasmine then left the police department. So, the last time that Jeffrey or Jasmine had any contact with Xana Kernodle was on November the 11th, 2022. Not November the 12th about fights with frats and gonna drive over there but was too drunk. No, they talked to her on 11/11. 11/11. And they were talking about going to a football game, and Xana had not said anything. They hadn't had any issues with anyone. So I believe he would have said, well, yeah, if I talked to her on the night of the atrocity and she had been in a fight then at the frat house and I was going to go over there because I was too drunk, I believe that would have made its way into this interview. But instead, you've got Kara Kernodle, I guess, just out there talking and making up lies. So that's what she seems to do well. And she was probably told to make up those lies. Who knows? But there's no pizza at midnight. There's no Jeffrey Kernodle told Xana and Ethan was getting pizza at midnight. That was all a lie. All right. It's just a lie. Here's the real truth. Read it and weep. If you don't want to believe it, I can't help you. I'll never bring up frats again in this case. Definitely not a frat fight.